Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here today for another edition of Hidden Figures on Podbites with Verna. Just am so excited that you're here. Of course, what we mean by hidden figures is about people who are within our neighborhoods, within our surroundings, people that we know who are doing phenomenal, great things, and we want to introduce you to them. Of course, Podbites with Verna is about that. We're about telling you compelling stories, fascinating people that we've met, and they have really great narratives, and you're going to meet a person today that you need to know. I think he is in the room now. I'm Verna Collins Odom, and I'm so glad to see you here. I'm going to reach up and actually get him into the room. I see him here, and I'm going to press the button, and there he is. Let me see. It says I'm going to be able to approve him. Course with Podbites with Verna, here always with those three eyes to inform, inspire, and ignite you to action. And right now, the person who is going to be doing that during this time you're looking at right now, his name is Joey Womack, and he is the founder, he's the president, director, executive director, all that great stuff for Goody Nation. How are you, Joey? Thank you for being here.
Awesome, awesome. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I was just letting people know that you are, in some people's minds, maybe a hidden figure because they haven't gotten to know you. But in a lot of companies, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business people definitely know who you are. And so I wanted people to meet you today and just to hear a little bit about your story, find out what you do for folks, and find out how you started. So thank you again. I really appreciate you taking time with me.
I'm looking forward to the conversation.
That's great. Now, I know we have a little delay, but folks will hang out with us. So this, as I said, is Joey, and he is here. Joey Womack is here, coming from a company called Goody Nation. It's a nonprofit. We're going to tell you a little bit about that, but he's all about entrepreneurs increasing their territory. And we're going to talk about how he's doing that and what we mean by that in just a minute. But this is something actually, Joey, that you came up with, this concept years ago, or the beginnings of this concept in about 2005. And I want 2009, I'm sorry, want to let people know that we're going to kind of walk them through how you did it. But just give us a nutshell of what Goody Nation is, and we can kind of, we'll go back and talk about that. But just maybe a minute. Tell us about Goody Nation, if you would.
Yeah. So Goody Nation is a nonprofit based in Atlanta, Georgia, but with a national and actually to a certain extent like a global impact. We support diverse entrepreneurs, so Black, Latinx, and women, and also social entrepreneurs of all backgrounds with community, with capital, and with further connections and accountability to help them reach their potential. Our promise to founders is to hold them accountable for making progress while helping to develop them as humans and as CEOs. And so I get the privilege every day to work with some of the best entrepreneurs, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Well, this sounds like a big endeavor. Obviously, we've heard of groups that do various things and little bits and pieces of maybe what you do. But what makes you also special is it's very comprehensive, I found. You talk about bridging the gap, that relationship gap. And I know many people think about that. We've heard of that. We know that there are certain circles that maybe some folks aren't able to break into. There are certain tables where we're not able to sit. But you were able to actually bridge the gap there, help people get in to see people that we would, okay, let me throw some names out here just so people know what we're talking about, Joey. I mean, you're talking to folks at Google, you're dealing with people at AARP, you're talking to folks at Microsoft, you're talking to people at Porsche, you are talking to folks all over and getting them in touch with entrepreneurs who are trying to achieve and trying to, as we said, increase their territory. How did you start this? How did that become your thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? So, I mean, you think back, like growing up, most people they hear phrases like, your network is your net worth. It's not what you know, it's who
Yeah.
you know. And so, when you start thinking about that, it relates to business. Most of the conversations are really all about financial capital for in particular for diverse founders. And so, I started to think back on my journey growing up in the business world, my journey as an actual entrepreneur. So I'm a former startup founder from college. I launched my first startup at Florida A&M, and I started to think back to all the things that I wish that I had back then as a young 20
Mhm.
something year old. I think I was 22 at the time. And so My superpower is that I'm an ecosystem
Hmm.
developer and a community builder. And so I started to bridge like my
Okay.
actual superpowers with the phrases we hear like growing up about business and use that to create Goody Nation.
Mhm. So a lot of this stuff though stays in people's heads and doesn't actually become an action. How did you take it from your head? And it's gotten huge. I mean, of course, you said you started it, the thought and getting it on Facebook. You had a Facebook group. How did you get it from your head to an actual business that is helping people across the world now? Because you're in 3 different countries, not including the U.S. How did you get that so that you're able to have traction, able to help them actually grow and have some tangible things that they can see as a result from being involved with you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so as an entrepreneur myself, I have a bias toward action. And so what it really started as a Facebook
Mm.
group, I started to do all these, I started to read a lot and wanted to share information. It really started out with a mindset of wanting to help people first. So give first. And so it started out as a small group and it grew and grew and grew. And people started to invite, their friends and their friends who are entrepreneurs and things of that nature. And so when you come with the mindset of giving first, people start to kind of be
Mm-hmm.
attracted to you, start to develop a culture, right? So action, behavior turns into culture eventually. And so we developed a culture of everyone giving back. And so we actually asked the question, what would it be like if in Atlanta in particular, we rallied up the entire tech and business ecosystem to support the top 10 diverse entrepreneurs? Like, what would that look like? Like that was our question to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did it. We ran a pilot. It
Okay.
was amazing. We connected founders to about $2 million in customers and capital, and then just exploded from there.
Mm. Okay. And when you're talking about the mindset, you also deal with even mental health issues, not mental health necessarily counseling, but you do. You have these meetings. You talk to founders. You call them founders. Everybody, what that's meaning is the entrepreneur, the founder of their own company. So you're the founder of your company of Goody Nation, but the founders of their companies. You talk to them. You have these groups. You have sessions. You have weekend problem solving events where you bring in mentors, those folks from those companies that we were talking about. How does that run? How does that work? And what are the entrepreneurs feeling when they get there? I imagine their minds are blown.
Yeah, yeah. So, so as it relates to the mental health part, again, as part of our promise to entrepreneurs, to the founders, to develop them as humans. And so, it's really born out of my personal entrepreneur experience, where despite knowing a bunch of people, there was at one point in my
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur life where I couldn't get in contact with one person to share my frustrations. And so I ended up starting a
Mm-hmm.
small group called Founders Therapy, where people sit around in a circle. This was pre-pandemic, and it was entrepreneurs only, and we just vented about only issues that we understand as entrepreneurs. So dealing with co-founder drama, dealing with
Mm-hmm.
significant others and family members that don't support you, dealing with you're getting a bunch of press, your own magazine coverage, you're in the news, but you can barely pay your bills, either personally and professionally. And so, like when entrepreneurs come to that, they feel it, like that is true
Mm-hmm.
community, and we do it because we say that it amplifies their peace of mind, so they can go back and start
Mm-hmm.
or continue to build their company to their potential. And so we have what we
So
call
your
All
goal,
Founders Need
mhm.
Therapy once a month.
Oh, keep going, keep going.
Yeah, I was just saying, so we have it on the last Thursday of the month. It's free for entrepreneurs. It's
Yeah.
a small group, about 20, 25 people. During the pandemic, it's been virtual. And now as we go into 2022, we're looking to start doing them in person again across the country.
So you're not just dealing with bits and pieces. Some people say, hey, I'm going to help you make money. I'm going to help you make money fast. I'm going to help you grow. You're dealing with, hey, this is the reason why you're not making money. This maybe you have a situation at home. So you're looking at a holistic approach. And this is not jump in, jump out. It sounds like you are invested with folks, with these founders for a bit. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So on average, our founders are in our program for 18 months. In some cases, we've had relationships with founders over 3 years. And in some cases, we've been with them for 5 years. Actually, we're going to have a 5-year reunion with the first set of entrepreneurs who's really started to work with pretty soon. And so there's power when people understand that you care about them and their success and no strings attached. And I want to be clear, our program is absolutely free to the entrepreneurs. We don't charge them a fee. We don't charge them equity. They don't have to give anything up to be a part of our program. We fundamentally don't believe in that. We'll be sustainable in other ways, like getting donations, grants, sponsorships. We just want to identify the best founders in the country and soon the world and give them support they need so they can reach their potential.
So I know that I asked you, and I'm going to move my chair up because I'm out of the light. I feel like I'm in the dark hole here. My husband's trying to fix it, so I'm just going to move up. It's live. It's okay. We'll be okay. But just out of curiosity, I wanted to ask you, because when I spoke to you before and I said, what is it about Goody Nation? What is it about Joey Womack that would make these companies with these big names want to give? And I know you said that, and I believe this, that people have that in their spirits. They do want to give. They do want to give back. But, you know, I still have to kind of get in there and try to find out. It's must be a you thing, because I'm telling you, it just seems so interesting that you started this company, you started online. There must be value that's seen, not just from the entrepreneurs, but also from the mentors, the coaches, the folks that come in and contribute time and energy and ideas and solutions for these folks.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess tactically, I would say that we've put about $23 million in the hands of entrepreneurs, and again, they understand that the business game is about networking, and when a founder says, "Hey, I need some help," right? I need some advice. I need capital. I need customers. It's our job at Goody Nation to go try to make that possible to the best of our ability, and we try as hard as humanly possible to make that happen. And so so it does lead to pilots with companies like MailChimp and Porsche and Google and investment capital with the SoftBanks and of the world. But at the end of the day, it's also about community. They know that I've been on that journey before. I'm on that journey with them now. There's a person on our team, Kathleen Curry, that says that generally speaking, entrepreneurs believe that they've created a solution that will solve their customers' problems, right? So that's a common thing in the tech startup world. Identify a problem, create a solution for it. But in reality, what they're doing is building an expression of who they are as a human being, which is a deep and powerful thing when you think about it. And so we have the privilege to walk alongside them while they are building an expression about who they are as a human. And that's why they come to Goody Nation. They know that we've been there, we've done that, and we'll be with them as long as they need.
Okay, tell me what it's like when a person comes in, and of course, you know, I can make this show 5 hours because I want to ask a million questions. But what is it like when a person comes in, an entrepreneur? I have a problem. You know, I don't know. There's some process for, you know, admitting them or saying yes, we're going to help you. But after they get through that process, what happens? Just a quick synopsis of what happens.
Yeah, so one of the first things that happens is we assess how ready they are to take on either capital or customers or endorsements. And from that, we help them to set priorities and goals. So going back to our accountability piece, we want to make sure they have priorities and goals set for the first or for the next 2 quarters at least. And then we hold them accountable for doing that. And so by doing that, we place them into groups of other entrepreneurs that meet either weekly on a Monday morning for 30 minutes or monthly for an hour. And the founders and the entrepreneurs have about 3 minutes during those, what we call huddles, to report on their progress, to report how they're feeling either personally and professionally, to report on any wins that they may have had, so press or cash, and also to report on what their plan is for that week or for the next month, and then to also ask for help. And so that's the primary. We work with the entrepreneurs. From those quick reports, we can figure out who to connect them with in the community for help, either other entrepreneurs or experts who have volunteered to give advice or things like that. And then again, we have the founders therapy and similar events throughout the month.
Okay, so I'm a person, I have a fledgling business. I've been trying to do whatever the business is, and I know it's a service or sorry, product oriented business. So you have to have a product as opposed to just your service to be involved. But I have this product, haven't been able to do anything with it. How do I get to you, and how do I get accepted by Goody Nation to work with?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, in terms of getting to us, you can go to our website, goodynation.org. So GOODIE nation.org. Fill out the application. It's under the Take Actions section. And then from there, we would set up a series of phone calls to learn more. What we're really looking for with companies is that they have a little bit of progress, what we call traction, right? So they have something that they can sell, and they've, generally speaking, made at least a little bit of money. At least a little bit of money. It could be 25,000, it could be 50,000, something along those lines. We're looking to see if there's a little bit of value that you can point to, or evidence you can point to, so that I actually am onto something. And so once you kind of get to that point, then we'll and help out.
Okay, now I know you said that you have been where these entrepreneurs have been as well. So we want to talk a little bit about that, a little more about the personal side of Joey. Okay, tell me about a time that you feel like you have failed, a failure. I know that many times when we look back, and I always say this, we're like, yeah, failure's great. Nobody wants to fail. I'm sorry, they just don't. So when the failure's happening, it's not so great. Tell me about a time that you feel like you've had a failure and how you got out of it, how you pivoted from that.
Oh, let me count the ways. Let me count the ways. There's a whole conversation to be had really around the concept of failure as it relates to entrepreneurs, especially in like diverse communities. But for me,
Yeah.
I actually go back to the first company that I launched, and really when I graduated from college. So for me, short story is, I launched the company going into my last year at Florida A&M. I graduated with
Okay.
the expectation that I would get a full-time job and I would kind of do this company on the side. But the reality is, and
Right.
people have different beliefs and so on and so forth, is that I couldn't get a job. Actually, here's a quick story. I actually wrote the business plan for 9 months. So basically for like the like 2 semesters. I didn't write it for an entire year. I wrote it for like 9 months. So I was expecting
Okay.
to graduate and do it part-time. Well, graduated, couldn't
Okay.
get a job, tried super hard. I felt like I only had one door to walk through, and that was to keep on doing the company. And so I came up with another product
Mm.
for the company. Super excited. I spent the entire summer. So I'm still in Tallahassee, Florida. Spent the entire summer working on this
Hmm.
product. Got a little bit of money. Bought a bunch of radio ads and all these flyers. Now this is almost 20 years ago, so I'm dating myself in terms of the marketing materials, and just knew that this new product would bring in 6 years. We will be good to go. Short story is, yeah, launched it, fell flat on his face, did not know how I was going to even eat. Like, honestly, at one point I was eating bread and water, literally, sleeping on a couch in the old frat house and stuff like that. But I made it through with the
Mm.
grace of God. And though that
Yes.
lesson, it still stays with me today, and it does influence the programming I do at Goody Nation.
And I imagine it propels you. I know I guess that's what people are saying when they say you fail later, it becomes that thing that has continued to make you hungry or make you continue to strive to do your best and to be your best. I get that. Okay. How about advice? Let's talk about advice. What is the best advice that you have gotten from whom? And also, what is the best advice you could give to somebody who is interested in doing something? Like I said, Podbites with Verna is about informing, inspiring, and igniting people to action to do something they've been called to do. So tell me about those things. Who have you gotten advice from, and what was the best advice you got? And then what advice can you give to somebody who's wanting to do their thing?
Wow. I mean, I've been blessed to receive a lot of advice from a lot of awesome people over the years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Woo, 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 woo. What I would say is, generally speaking, there's a mantra in the startup space around trying to solve the or figure out or let me take a step back. Essentially, do the hard job of confirming your assumptions about your business before you pour a ton of money and effort into it. That being said, you can do that super fast. And so even going back to my example around failure, I had this quote unquote great idea, sounded great, so on and so forth, but I did not confirm my assumptions that led to the actual idea. And those assumptions were wrong, and it ended up leading to failure. So said another way, treat a startup like an experiment, like a science experiment, and experiment as much as possible, as fast as possible. Now, in terms of, advice that I would give, and I would, there's a lot I could probably give, but I would say for me, what really is sticking into me now is, again, know who you are as a person. Going back to what I said earlier about, as an entrepreneur, you are building an expression about who you are as a human. From an advice standpoint, what I would say do is go back to where to the if you can think back to the person that you were as a fourth or fifth grader. That's probably the almost the purest expression about who you are as a human. You're old enough to have, thoughts and actions, so on and so forth. But in most cases, for people, they're not falling prey to the pressures of society once they particularly get to middle school. So fourth and fifth grade, you're kind of top of the societal order in like elementary school, but you're not really worried about impressing people and stuff like that. You only really get that once you go to like middle school and stuff like that.
All right. Oh wow, that's a good one. I hadn't thought about that one. I really like that one. How do you keep that balance in your business life and your personal life? I know somebody who is a venture capitalist. He always talks about at this point in his life, he finds that those things are blended. So the folks that are for his friends are the people that he has around him in business. But I'm not telling you that's your life. I'm just saying, how do you keep those lines and have a personal life,
Yeah.
also keep your work life going?
Yeah, if I had to, if I probably don't, right? I mean, so what I didn't say earlier, it's my life's goal to help 1 billion people by the year 2039, and I don't consider myself to have a personal or professional life. I just have one life, and I'm trying to achieve the goal.
Yeah.
And so, I don't really, to a certain extent, I guess technically I do, right? But to a certain extent, I'm just trying to live. Just trying to live till I can't anymore, and trying to achieve this goal. And so, yeah, to your earlier point or your earlier example, I would say that the majority of my friends are work friends. That's just the people I see all the time. But I am making concerted efforts to loop back to people who I don't necessarily see in a professional sense, quote unquote, as much.
Okay, I was going to ask you, when you're not working, what do you do? So what is your life like when you're not working, when you're not helping somebody else achieve their dream? What do you do? Do you read? Do you run? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, pandemic life is interesting, right? I mean, at least for me, I was pretty conservative, so
Oh
I
yeah.
haven't done, too much in the past 20 or so months. But for me, I've been
Mhm.
playing a lot of video games. But actually probably way too much than my wife cares for. She actually calls it my best friend she's joking, but she's really not joking. When I say not joking, she's not happy with it. But it is my
Right,
way to
right.
kind of chill out, mellow out, kind of depressed and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, fit a couple of date nights in there and you'll be fine, I think. I hope. Tell me about any missed
I
opportunities. Do
would
you
say,
feel do you feel you've missed any opportunities in life? Is there anything that I know you said you wouldn't want to be doing anything else because that was actually one of my questions. So you answered that one. But as far as missed opportunities, do you feel like you have kind of given up something to achieve the success and to help other folks to achieve the success that you want to see them have? Do you feel like you've had to kind of make sacrifices?
no, yeah, short answer is yes. But that being said, I also believe that I'm on this mission for a reason. And it's just
Mm.
part of what my life is supposed to be. But that being said, there was I even said like 10 years ago where I actively would think like, you know, I am actively sacrificing, you know, things, whether it at the time
Mm-hmm.
was a family. When I say family, like my own family, like wife, kids, and things of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, and that to me was a for me, it's kind of a test of faith and how much I really was going to focus on the mission and stuff like that. And I figured out everything else would kind of fall into place, and to a certain extent, it has. So, you know, I think you do kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and the type of person that I am, I'm almost obsessive about looking back on things and doing debriefs and so on and so forth. I've been this way since I was like 5, 6 years old. So I do think about other things that could have happened and play the what if game probably way too much.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with how everything
Yeah.
kind of played out. No regrets.
Good. And I know that what if game can loop you around for quite a while. So I played that a couple of times myself. So tell me a little bit about whether or not you feel that there is, well, let me go back. Is there something, or what is the thing that gets you up in the morning? What gets you going? What gets you excited in the morning? And then I always ask people to contrast that with what might keep you up at night. I'm saying this could be personal life, your life outside of work. When I say keeps you up, something you can't put to bed, something that concerns you. So the first one is the positive, the thing that encourages you, invigorates you. The second one is the thing that would keep you up thinking and concerned.
Sure. I mean, actually, the reality, I think they're both one and the same. What keeps me going, what gets me up in the morning and kind of ready to go is that I get to work with some of the best and talented entrepreneurs in this country every single day, and they trust Goody Nation. They trust me in order to help them achieve their dreams. And that's a powerful responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
quite honestly. So my thing is I can't let them down, and I can't you know, I can't let down the mission or putting my best foot forward to reach the mission that I've been given. With that being said, it does keep me up at night because I learned this back in, or I was given this question, probably is better put it, back when I was in college and pledging. And the question goes, you know,
Okay.
am I doing enough? Am I doing all I can? The answer is always no.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, kind of, and that's been in my head for 20 plus years now. And so that does keep me up at night. Like, I am, if there's, put it like this, one of the things, probably the thing that makes me most upset in this world is unrealized potential, which
Mm.
actually means that I'm probably always upset,
Yeah.
but always kind of keeps me up at night.
Yeah, yeah, that one will get you. I mean, that's something that you want to get things done and you just don't reach, like you said, your highest point. So I can definitely understand that. I'm going to give people a little bit of your information. We call it bites to go. So there's some of the thoughts that you had today, and obviously some great information for us to take away with us. But these are just a couple that I wrote down. You said when you go with a mindset of giving, first, you develop a culture like that. I love that. So when you're thinking of giving, many times people think, what can I get? But you're saying go in first with the giving attitude, and you'd be surprised what ends up happening. I like that. You also said we want to make sure priorities and goals are there to assess how folks are doing. So that's one of the prime things that you do with Goody Nation. You come in and you make sure that folks come in and they have their priorities straight and that they have goals straight and that they are attainable, and then you hold them accountable. So I love that. You also, this is one of your personal ones, you said you couldn't find a job when you got out of school, and you said you had one door to walk through, and that was to continue doing what you had started and dreamed up in those 9 months. So I think that's great. And then your best advice, you said do the hard job of confirming the assumptions about your business before you pour a lot of money into it, which I love that. And then the last one, treat your business like, or your startup like an experiment, and do a lot of things and kind of figure it out. You didn't say necessarily the word fail, but I think that's maybe what you meant. Do those things quickly so you can learn quickly and grow quickly. So I love that. Again, I know that we were talking about, we had a little bit of delay. I'm not sure how this is going to look. Hopefully it all works out in the wash. But I really appreciate talking to you. Every time I talk to you, I mean, I've only done it a couple of times, but I'm just invigorated. I mean, I'm just like, I'm going to go out and conquer the world because your energy is that big. So I appreciate your time so much. Thank you so much, Joey. That's Joey Womack. And you're of Goody Nation. And you did give us the email, but I'm going to give it to people again. It's Goody, Goodie Nation, NATION.org. And is there anything else that we can let people know about how to contact you or how to get in touch with you? Is that pretty much where they can find you and all of your information?
Yeah, that too. We're into social media at Goody Nation on all channels.
Okay, perfect, perfect. And then let's also talk really quickly, not talk about it, but there are also opportunities for people who might see this, who want to be a mentor. That is a way that they should reach you as well. And you're always open. What kinds of folks are you looking for to mentor? What sorts of people?
All types. So the reality is, we at Goody Nation, we believe that everyone has a role to play in closing the relationship gap. So if you have 2-3 hours a month to dedicate to helping an entrepreneur or a student or something like that in terms of furthering their career, go to our website, sign up to be an expert, and we go from there. These are people, but more specifically, if you want to say like marketing people, PR folks, advertisers, software developers, designers, accountants, folks like that, yeah, your skill sets are always needed.
Okay, and tell us again what your goal is, reaching how many by what year?
1 billion by the year 2039.
I have no doubt you'll get there. I appreciate your time, Joey. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you later.
All right, just want to let everybody know. Wait 1 second, don't hang up. Want to let everybody know where they can find us. We are going to be back, of course, on Podbites with Verna coming up. We're going to not be able to have a show on this coming Sunday at the regular time, but I'll let you know when we're going to show up. I have something that I have to handle with my son. He's a competitive gymnast and he has a meet, so I thought that was pretty important. So I'm going to be there, but we're definitely going to have somebody else great, another hidden figure on, who is going to be able to share with us their secrets, their tips, and their ideas. So we appreciate your time and you hanging out with us, and we will see you back here really soon. Have a great evening, everybody. Bye-bye.